Welcome to the Game Corner, another hot tub stream podcast? Yeah, I don't like that at all. Anyway, yeah, we're here. Wait, this is an intro. My name's Harrison, you might know me as Rex, and I'm joined as always by friends and co-hosts in person in a hot tub.
Rowan, you might know me as Mocha, and I'm joined by...
And this is Sheldon, you probably know me as Captain Yanova.
Hello from a hot tub in Charlotte. It is currently
30-something degrees?
30-something degrees outside.
Close to freezing.
Yeah, and the hot tub is a whopping 100 degrees, so there's a nice difference there. And boy, did it suck to set this up for a small intro for a podcast. But how are y'all doing?
Good.
I'm ready for Charlotte Regionals. I bombed the local on the day beforehand. It's going to be great. We're going to do great.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be better than getting out of this hot tub.
I brought a dinosaur. You bought a bird?
I also have a dinosaur.
Dinosaur
bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is going to be great. So, if all goes according to plan, we will be in about 13 hours sitting for round one of the regional. Is that right?
Sounds about right.
That math checks out.
Yeah.
14 hours maybe? I know you've done a lot of practice.
We're going to see if that translates to literally anything.
Yeah, that's right. I know you trained a bird, so
I did train a
you had
bird.
to do some practice.
Yeah, a little bit of practice.
And I picked my team 45 minutes ago.
The Squawkabilly Master is going to...
Yeah.
Squawk!
Squawk!
You're gonna just freaking outperform everyone here.
That's what I have to do.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Fantastic.
Really just Seamus, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think we're going to do a real episode with the Pokesports guys in the background, so it should be good.
Yeah, so we're in the Airbnb, which has this lovely hot tub, and
the nice Queen City, in the Queen
oh
City.
yes, Queen City.
I was going to say we should Photoshop our logo over that, but whatever, you can lean into the Queen City.
I
That's
might
fine.
do that too, or not, who knows. But yeah, so oh wait, there he is now, the man, the myth, the legend.
Get in here.
Kevin from Pokesports, get in here.
Oh, now what?
Just jump
into a hot
in.
tub.
Just jump in.
Jump in. Yeah, no, you're crashing in the real episode. That's fine. Anyway, we'll have more of that after this
We
break.
run out of this hot tub screaming because it's
Oh, man.
cold.
They witnessed it. I was like panicking like a little girl, not wanting to get in this hot tub.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're about to have a bad time.
Oh man, this Florida boy
Florida
is
man
cold.
is Florida man and cold.
That's very true. All right, well, y'all, see you on the
Are
other
we
side.
done with this? Yeah.
Yeah, we are. Welcome back to the Game Corner. If I did my job right, you all just witnessed our lovely hot tub intro from Charlotte. So I'm going to presume that I did that right in editing, and we're just going to have a normal episode from here on. I said normal episode, dogs. How y'all doing?
It tracks.
Sounds all right. I'm really excited to get back to our competitive Palworld podcast.
Yes.
Yes.
Same.
So I think I don't know why that killed me. So I think what we'll do for this episode is start with Charlotte. I think we can kind of knock out our feelings on Charlotte pretty quickly, and then we can in the B segment, or I guess C segment, if you want to count the hot tub as the first part of this podcast.
Oh, that is definitely the A.
Yeah, that's something. Then we can probably talk about Palworld for a little bit, because I think we'll have some initial thoughts on Palworld, and then next week we'll have some
Deep
final
dive.
thoughts on Palworld. And also Liverpool is this weekend, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we'll have that to
Liverpool
talk
this
about
weekend, Knoxville the weekend afterwards. It's just kind of nonstop.
too. It is nonstop. That's very exciting for people like us. But in the meantime, how was Charlotte for y'all?
I had a blast. Outside of the very last game, which fumbled my winning in, I was actually really happy with the team. I put a lot of prep and
like building like into it, and it performed. I felt really good about it, and like outside of the game, just this was the regional where everybody I knew was. Like I'm going to Knoxville in I guess so a little bit over a week from when we're recording this now, and it's going to be fun, but it's it's maybe like less than half of the crew that was there for Charlotte. Like
who's going to Knoxville?
just the
I'm
Georgia,
not.
just the Georgia VGC crew is going to be there. So that
Okay.
I have a crew to go with, and it'll be fun, but it's nothing like Charlotte in terms of like the number of people I know who are going to be there.
Well, speaking of number of people, we can also say Charlotte had 845 masters, and it was
The
it's
biggest,
The largest.
the largest regional that has ever existed.
Yep.
not just regional tournament. Period.
Good point.
Yeah, bigger than any internet, bigger than any world. Obviously, bigger than Worlds. Like, yeah, it's the biggest tournament ever, and they actually handled it. I gotta say, really well. Like there was a bit of a pause at the very, very beginning, but timing was fine. We got out of there at a very reasonable time, day one, honestly, and like outside of like there were connection issues literally at the beginning, and that was it.
That's something we run into at every tournament, I feel like, anyway.
There's always in the beginning, right?
Yeah, these connection issues are just a thing we had to deal with.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Like, didn't they drop a bunch of like some tables and all?
So supposedly Worlds had its own issues, which like I've been hearing more and more about the cluster on that one shortly afterwards, and apparently it was basically amateurs running it. Like you had to use a Japanese company, and they just weren't really set up for it because they don't do live events in Japan. All their qualifiers are online and all that. So yeah, it was an extra cluster on top of everything. Like on top of the game just like being horribly built, like you have people who don't know actually how to run the event running it as well. Like
that's pretty upsetting.
The promotion and the decorations and everything were amazing, but
like even get like TPCI, my goodness, to like help or something, right?
No, they're
like,
not. Apparently, they're literally not allowed to. Like they needed a Japanese company to run it.
Even help, like you couldn't have.
I don't know the specifics honestly. So but yeah,
weird
that's
things.
Wild. So yeah, I was trying to find. They gave us the silly little luggage tags for the bonus of being the largest event, and
wasted
cute.
So much more time to start the round to hand those things out.
But we still started under an hour.
Yeah, I think the actual start time was like 9:15 or 9:20, something like that. So like 15-20 minutes late. Like it could have been way worse, and it just kept rolling after that. I thought they did a pretty solid job, and they definitely
once it got going, things were good.
Yeah,
and they rented out a bigger room than last year.
Yeah, they got the bigger hall this time.
Yeah,
they got the main hall.
Nice.
It did not feel cramped like last year. We all felt like we had to leave the convention hall and go hang out outside of it.
You had to because there was just no room last year.
Yeah, whereas this time, like we were all just cool to kind of loiter in like the alleyways that weren't blocking people from actually walking around, and you could do that. Yeah, so
it was easier to get the food, easier to get the bathrooms. It was a lot better.
We pretty consistently had our spot, and it was easy to get together and not be in people's ways. It was very nice.
Honestly, the only complaint was not in their control. This is so cold. Like we hit a horrible cold front that weekend, and you want to know what temperature is in Atlanta right now? It's 70. Like
yes, same here.
It's 80 here,
South Carolina.
So yeah, no, it was hilarious timing on that, I think, but still, pretty good overall.
Yeah.
So what was your Rowan? Since we're focused on you, because you did the best. So
yes, you played in this tournament.
Hey, we played in this tournament just because it was my worst
you guys
tournament
stopped pretty
ever.
early. I'm gonna.
Yeah, no, I 05 dropped. I gotta admit, it was. I didn't put anything into this. Like the last few weeks, even like months leading up to this tournament, has been just bad for me in timing and like free time, whatever. So I'm like, I'm just gonna put together a team and do something, and I did something. I dropped is what I did.
So for what it's worth, I actually I was playing a lot in this format leading up to it, but I actually only put this team together about a week and a half before the tournament. I was playing a lot of different stuff, and then Pierre came up to me with Angel Lost, Pokesports Mod, cool guy who was with us there. We both ran the same team. He came up with these 6 and showed them to me. And I was like, you know what? I really wanted to run Raging Vault, and it has a bunch of the mons that I wanted to use anyway. And we were both talking about using Hisui and Arcanine again because of how much Pow Night was coming up. And we optimized the absolute Kricketune out of those 6, and it was great. Like so we went 6. I went 6-3. I'm still gonna kick myself forever for that win, and I just could have attacked and it would have been fine. I wrote down bad information that I was slower than the mod I was fighting, and I was not. Could have just gone in. Yeah, bad times. But anyway, outside of that, no, it was like I really enjoy like getting to see something that we put a lot of time into like actually do well.
Yeah, no, I think that's the cool thing, and the thing that I'm if I'm being honest, like shocked that we as a group, like we have a pretty decent group of people who know Mons, and we don't do that a whole lot. Like that's the first-ish time that
everyone's very content focused, I think.
That's
me, maybe. I think
that's very true.
Like the Pokesports guy, obviously Kevin and Mike know their way around Pokemon, but they are putting out a video every day.
Yeah,
Bruno puts out a video every day. You know, we're just a old people. Like that's kind of how that one goes. But yeah, I think that's just kind of been the theme of like the last couple of years, honestly, playing Gen 9 VGC, is that especially now that Dynamax is not in the picture and you don't have that like really stabilizing factor, comfort in this game is very important, and you get what you put into it. And if you don't put enough into it, you are most likely not going to do well. Like if you are a world-class player, then yeah, you can probably wing it, but like none of us are that.
Trust me, I know. It was. I got
if you just got a few more crits along the way, if you just were a little bit luckier,
was in my favor, yeah. And if I was a little psychic too, if I could see what my opponent clicked, I could have done great.
RNG definitely evened out for me in the end. I lost my game to Raghav off of a rock slide miss onto his Dragonite, but I won the very next set on their Bleak Wind miss. So it is what it is there. Like our RNG is RNG. God, Hisuian Arcanine is the only, like I had multiple game plans into common teams. My play was Icy Wind and Rock Slide on the same turn.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like if everything connects, I literally win the game, and if like one Rock Slide misses or one Icy Wind misses, like target misses, I probably lost. And it's just like
it's always the Icy Wind is always on what you don't need it to miss too.
Yeah.
It'll hit the slowest thing on the field. You'll hit a Torkoal or something and miss the like Flutter Mane.
Yeah, I think that there was some real I still haven't watched the cut games yet. Like honestly been too ingrained into Palworld the last week since we got back. We all just like got it on Harrison's Steam Deck and played it after day one.
we
as a group.
We will tell that story here in a
why
moment.
am I not playing this instead? So
yeah. So do we want to? Or I guess, sorry, Sheldon, and I should give you the chance to. Absolutely. Do you want to talk about your team? Because you also brought a very fun team to Charlotte.
Oh, me? Oh, my.
I did say your name.
Sorry, wasn't paying attention. No, I brought my Squawkabilly. Squawkabilly. Yes, I brought a Incineroar that flies.
You haven't, so you could just bring Incineroar now. It's still you caught feelings for it.
Y'all, you saw that grid going around Twitter right now of like what is on Incineroar?
Yeah,
and Squawkabilly's on it.
Yeah, it is, as it should be. It is an Incineroar.
It has Intimidate and Parting Shot, right? That's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of threw a little bit on some calcs. I didn't realize people were running flutters fast as they were now. They weren't just running the usual very bulky flutter mains, like especially the specs versions.
They're actually all over the place now. Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone I ran into was like max speed, and my Goldingo cannot handle a scarfed Urshifu and max speed flutter main.
It's
so
not on every team, but it's out there. So yeah.
Well, it was on 4 of the teams I played. So yeah, like that lead, I literally had nothing for, because I'm used to like, okay, I can Icy Wind and make it rain. I'll be good. I couldn't do that.
Brutal. Yeah.
It was Icy Wind, Wicked Blow, and Moonblast. There goes my Goldingo.
That's amazing.
So yeah, that was my tournament run.
Was your that bad lead, was that the 4?
Yes.
Okay.
4 losses. Yeah. 4 in a row.
Yeah.
4 in a row.
Yeah, because I remember you started okay.
Yeah.
And it just went downhill.
Yeah, things showed good, and then like I said, I hit that same lead 4 times in a row, and it was just brutal. I was like, all right, I'm done with this game.
What
Go to
you
take
could
a
use
nap.
against that Scarabushifu is a neck.
Yes, or a Frigoraph or
Yeah,
something to anything.
I did really like
Also a
running
neck.
for a
Also a
graph on
neck.
my team. It was budget and excellent. I think was my for graph, and I believe in walking wake. I just need to actually try and build with it and practice with it. I think it has potential. I hope.
I think
I
all
like my
three
dino.
dinos definitely have potential. I think surprisingly, Walking Wake might be the weakest of them. I really thought it was going to be Gouging Fire, but
I didn't
Gathering Fire
see.
has that support.
Gouging Fire did very well. I don't think Burning Bulwark is as good as people think, but just the speed and the howl together are amazing.
Yeah, I don't think Bulwark also doesn't stop status moves. So
It doesn't, yeah. So you can get spored through its protect.
yeah,
which is
so
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's not a full protect. It is a protect from damaging moves.
yeah.
I thought it was a protect.
But the
No,
idea
so
is that you kind of destroy Pow Knight with it, right? Because like they have to double you to kill you, and then like, do you really
You
want
get
to
burned.
double? Yeah,
It's where you
do
get
you want to
burned.
burn your Dragonite and your Shenpao on turn one, right? Like, just the game is over if you call that wrong.
And then the breaking swipes.
Yeah,
all
speedy
that
breaking
good
swipe
stuff.
is huge. Speed booster howl is huge, and then if you put that howl on, it's actually all extremely heavy. Like I want to say it's almost as heavy as a Metagross. So Heat Crash is actually like
Heat
a
Crash,
no drop.
yeah.
It's like a no
Oh.
drawback Flare Blitz most of the time.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I know my next in person is Orlando, which is both far away and also right after I'm out of
April, right?
country for 2 weeks. So that'll be very fun to see how that all plays together.
That's April, right?
And just
Yeah,
spend your
April-
vacation grinding Showdown. It'll be fine.
I mean,
There you
I'm
go.
going to Japan.
You're gonna be on a plane for a long time to go to Japan.
Yeah, just
so
pay for the internet on the plane.
there you go.
I need to check if that's a. We might just have it's an international flight. I have no idea.
You generally
Sure.
will be able to buy internet for like significantly less than you're paying for the flight. I promise.
Oh well, yeah, that's sure. I can. I would hope so.
Like it'll cost you $10 or $20. Like it'll be fine.
Yeah. So, all that said, do we want to run through some interesting things out of top 8 real quick?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, first of all, congrats to Wolfie for winning the biggest tournament ever again.
again, yes. Good
And
job,
that,
Wolfie. Yeah.
and that officially puts him at the top for most regional wins, right? Wasn't he tied with Chua
He
before?
was tied with Chua. Yeah. I
now
think
he's at
he's
8?
definitely ahead now. He
Yeah.
might have been ahead already. Yeah, I can't remember, but
Yeah, I think this is 8 for him.
Yeah. I remember something about 8.
just insane.
yeah, I saw someone post the statistics. He has a better ratio of regional wins than Tom Brady has for Super Bowl wins.
Which is wild.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That puts Pokemon in like a real
Yeah, he's like
esport.
Tom Brady, but not a horrible person. You know, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I think that Wolf, like, it was a really cool. I hate to say this really cool because it's just it's what everybody thought was going to dominate this format.
This is a
Incineroar,
meta
Urshifu,
team.
Rillaboom, but
Yep.
he like was the only one who decided to go that standard. Everybody else was like trying like using the new tools, like the new sauce, like. That I tried to run this boring stuff really early in the format and it worked well until it suddenly didn't, until people figured it out the holes, right? And as it turns out, if you just put a bunch of glue pieces together and you are the best player in the world, then you can win.
That's why positioning is king
Shocking.
Yeah,
in this game at the top level.
And he's good at positioning. We know that from his
I don't want to
past.
Yes.
start this one again, but at least this just like cements my opinion. Like I don't think there's any like I know Rizzo won 3 worlds, but like it's getting harder and harder to like consider anybody but Wolfie the best out there right now. Like,
Especially with regionals nowadays. These regionals are
Yeah.
worlds level competition. Like they're not
these regionals are more competitive than Worlds
yeah,
was.
they're not like back before like regionals could almost be just
13 years
glorified
ago,
locals.
Yeah,
Right.
You know,
exactly.
like you didn't have people traveling like they do for these.
Yeah.
You didn't have 850 person tournaments, right?
I wanna call
With the
out-
internet to back up being
Yeah,
good at
yeah,
the game.
exactly. No,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Is
Like
that
the
early-
average player
everyone's
base
good.
is way higher now.
No one is bad at this game. I mean, there are bad people, but like no one is like clueless. Everyone's coming with IVs and EVs on their mons, right? Like
Right.
that wasn't even a given apparently. Like
And
from
knowledge
5+
of the
years
meta.
ago.
Like it's not a secret, Illuminati
Most-
thing to understand the meta.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
The tools are out there though for everybody now.
Correct. Yes.
The
Very true.
information is out there.
But yeah, I want to call out Nicholas Donnelly, the second place player. He's playing almost exactly what I was running early meta too. I'm a little sad I didn't make this call. But it's fast Blood Moon with Tornadus on the same team as
Yep.
Farigiraf and Clear Amulet Hands. So it's really cool is that you have this priority prevention. So Hands doesn't have to run any speed at all for the Fake Out Wars. It always wins the Fake Out Wars because your opponent can't Fake Out. So you get
Right.
Fake Out Trick Room, and then you get Helping Hand, almost max attack Adamant close combats off of an Iron Hands. And yeah, it lowers its defenses and it dies, and then you get Blood Moon in. And even though it's probably max speed Blood Moon, that's still slower than most things out there. But max speed Blood Moon outspeeds Fluttermane under Tailwind and Bundle under Tailwind if it doesn't have the booster energy. So like you can still murder things with Fast Bear. You can murder things with Fast Bear under Trick Room. Like it was a very cool team. And Overpawn Hearthflame also made a huge showing too. Like
Yep.
I think on all
1 and 2.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think on all of the usage stats, it was Water Pawn, and that's what I was using. I think Water Pawn is a fantastic mon in this format, especially like.
It's still there's 3
in top 8, yeah,
top 8 and 3 Heartflame.
yeah, but yeah. So as far as usage stats goes, Water Pawn was king, but as far as the winners of the tournament, they were both flame. So that's it's interesting to see. I think that, and they were both flame with Urshifu's on there. I think, although Nicholas's was dark, so he could have had Water Pawn if he wanted. I think it is interesting though because we are seeing Urshifu not be the dominant water type. Like like everyone still thinks it's unhealthy. I still think it's unhealthy, but it's not as bad as it was in Reg D or E. Like you are not seeing Tornurch on every other team anymore. Like, the meta has evolved past that.
And I feel like it's still evolving from this.
Actually, I say that, but there are literally 5 Tornurches in top 8.
I was going to say,
But
it's all
water
there still.
It's a different feel though than that Tornurch.
Yeah,
it's got it's a different play style.
In fact, that is the other story of the current meta game is that Dark Ursh is actually more common than Water Ursh. You only had Water Ursh on Wolf and Tuller's team in top 8. Every other one was Dark.
Well, so what's funny is in day 1, Rapid was just 0.5% more usage than Single Strike, and then in top 12 for top 12 for 1 for day 2, Single way outpaced. Well, way like 5%.
5%. Yeah,
it's big when we're looking at these number ranges. Unless your name is Fluttermane.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That was my kid.
Okay. Sounded like a demon.
Yeah.
But Single Strike.
That's my pal farm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's suffering happening there. It's fine.
Yeah, single outpacing in day 2 is I think that helps what you're saying, right? Like that's obviously a big change to go from very similar to way outpacing.
Yeah. We may see, like I've said this about multiple formats and then end up centralizing aggressively and becoming quite boring, but at least for now, we are in the very cool stage of the meta where it is wide open. There are all kinds of things doing well. Like Luca came third with Gouging Fire. Neil came 8th with Raging Vault. Toller came 7th with Iron Crown. All of the new toys are seeing usage and they're interesting ones. They're not just the like go fast and murder things tools, right? Like everybody was very doubtful about Iron Crown doing well because it is hard walled by Incineroar, but Toller brought it to 7th place and did it pretty convincingly.
Yeah. Fast Horse is expanding horse.
There was a Smeargle on the 6th place team, like wild.
Oh, yep, Smeargle. I'm impressed that we saw Smeargle because I think we all agreed early on, like before this meta, that like, oh, Smeargle won't see play because it's too power crept, right? Like it's too weak in this current format.
Yeah, there are things you can do with it. This one was with Wide Guard, which is cool. I saw some Decorate Smeargle earlier, which is kind of neat. You can put Decorate Smeargle min speed next to Blood Moon.
Right.
Once you get your Trick Room up, and it's just like, well, now I have Weakness Policy and Life Orb effectively. Like, enjoy that.
Bye, Cap.
Sorry, I got to bounce. Kids melting down.
Yeah, we heard the demon.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'll let you know if I can come back or not, but y'all just keep it on.
Oh, I was going to anyway. We're already here.
Yeah. Palworld's fun. Like.
Okay, Cap's gone. So what were we saying just now? Because I totally forgot.
Smeargle stuff. Yeah,
Decorate,
pretty much.
But yeah, Smirgor's there, and I think it would take someone who has a very good game sense to play Smirgor, just because it still is a kind of a weakish mon. Like,
but there were several.
Stats-wise.
It definitely takes it's not a splashable mon anymore, right?
Correct.
And
Yes.
and open team sheet definitely makes it harder to play, but
yes.
it is definitely usable. In fact, I think it was the 20 Brian Collins. Where are you? 25th place was exactly that. Using Frigoraph, Smeargle, and Ursulina Blood Moon. It was pretty neat stuff. Like Blood Moon also really took off this format. I think like people were like Fari Blood Moon was an archetype that everybody was like pretty careful of this coming into this format, but it was like I'm not sure it's going to take off because Amoonguss just hard counters it. Brian Collins just runs Sleep Talk on Blood Moon, and I was like, fine, spore me, I've got this. Like before that, people were running Uproar for a graph, which is absolutely awful, but it's a way around it.
Oh, sure.
It's like bad outrage that stops things from sleeping.
Right. Ah, that's funny. And then the other thing that I'm happy to see a lot of, and I will get flack for this from y'all for a long time, but Arc Rain did pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only giving you flack for not playing it. Arc Rain is great.
I mean.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I mean. I've got a Sun team. I'm a Rain player. What am I doing?
I was saying that going into this.
I know.
I mean, that said, the top placement for it was 19th.
It was not top,
which is pretty decent, but it did have that meta adjustment of the Baxcalibur on there, which is relatively recent. I know Cybertron posted a video with the backs on there, but that is very much a recent adjustment to it. But it does make it a lot like the Palafin team that Gavin Michaels was using back at OCIC. Effectively, you just swap out Dragonite for Arch and Palafin for Urshifu and call it a day. And it's basically the same team otherwise. But yeah, very, very, very cool to see that doing well. I think Archulon is another mon that like nobody was like super sure how good it was going to be coming into this format, and it's decent. It's not top 8 good, but it is good.
Yeah, but as a good, I feel like it did well enough in this tournament that a good pilot and a different day, it could have been up there, right?
And again, biggest tournament ever, right? That was across skill levels, of course, but at a tournament where there aren't a ton of people who know exactly how to deal with it, you might do a little better.
Yep. Let's see. Is there anything else that stands out for top 8, or anything else you want to talk about this, or do you want to jump to our B segment?
Our B segment? I think I'm done. Yeah.
Or C segment, whatever this is. Anyway, so Palworld.
So let's address the elephant in the room before we go into our experience of this. Yes, there is a lot of controversy about this game because the designs are aggressively, let's say, inspired. If we're being honest with ourselves, they are very derivative, bordering on plagiarism. But people have ripped models from the game, compared them directly to Pokemon models. Some of them are quite close, but they are ultimately different. They were at worst traced and made different. Like you can effectively make these models on top of existing ones and change them as you like. That is not going to get you in trouble legally. Most likely it will get you in trouble in the public eye, and I think those criticisms are completely justified.
Yes. So obviously, if you look anywhere on the internet right now, the public eye criticism, the court of public law is definitely clashing on this a lot. I wish I had the chance to read it before we recorded, but I found today a Bloomberg article about someone who actually spoke with lawyers like who are in the video game industry, and according to like the headline of it basically was that there's no legal issues right now with Palworld.
Yeah.
To go with what you just said. But like obviously like if you have played Palworld, if you've seen anything of Palworld, you know that like you said, it's a very derivative of Pokemon for the pals, even though I think they claim there's nothing here, but whatever, that's marketing. But the gameplay is obviously ripped right out of Arc. Like Rust.
They've effectively taken elements from every popular game for the past 5 years, really. Like, which
is people do that all the time. That is a normal thing that happens in the industry, right? But to do it so like Pocket Pixel,
Pocket
I think.
Pals?
No,
Pixel
Pocket
Perfect?
Pixel is Pocket Pixel. I think is the developer. right?
What
Okay.
what are you trying to say?
Well, I was gonna say like they are
like pixel perfect type of thing, like exactly as.
no. Hold on. Pocket Pixel, which is the developers, like came so close to like flirting with the line of plagiarism on this game. At least as far as like people like what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
Perception of the public. That I think is where there's a lot of like question. Pocket Pair. That's what it is.
Okay.
The developer. But like, I don't know. Is that
I think
bad?
that so something you really have to take into consideration is that this is okay. So there's a joke that everybody makes when we criticize a game that comes from a big studio. It's like, haha, it's small indie studio Nintendo, small indie studio Blizzard. You must please understand they couldn't do anything about this. This is genuinely like calling this a small indie studio is an understatement. Like they had a couple $1 million to work with for the entire process. Their developers didn't understand version control. For people who aren't in software, that is the way that you save your work and share it with other people. They didn't know how to use version control. This is the most basic thing they teach to you in college. They teach it to you in an internship when you're not being paid yet. They came in with a bucket of flash drives and saved everything to a flash drive at the end of the day and then restored it from that if something went wrong. That is how amateurish we're talking about. Nobody there knew how to do anything to do with guns. They found a guy in the local gas station or convenience store who did this as a hobby and hired him on the spot.
Yeah, I know.
To do the entire shooting system. Like,
and
I
the artist that did the pals was someone who was, I guess, rejected.
Yeah, just an amateur. Like,
yeah,
I cannot overstate. Like, yes, now these people are millionaires, but they were just indie devs prior to the success of this game. It is not crazy for an indie dev to use stock assets.
Well, so that's the thing too, right? So they have two other of their games, which I do want to touch on. So I think Craftopia is a game that they came out with a couple years ago, where I think the whole thing was stock assets.
Yeah.
And like if you look at Palworld, this game, it's so jarring. The stock asset like world building stuff they used against the cartoony pals, against the realistic guns, against the like CGI anime looking like characters that you play as, the avatars. Like it's wild that there's no like consistent art thing. And that
I
comes
actually
from
have
them.
never found myself really taken out of it by that. Like it doesn't really like I don't find it all that jarring. Maybe I'm just not like desensitized to this thing kind of thing. But like it's not like Pokemon has a particularly consistent art style outside of bad at this point in their game, right? Like.
But like it's all, at least for Pokemon for the most part. I mean, look at that tree from Sword and Shield. It's pretty consistent as far as like, or at least more consistent, whatever. I can't think of the better word than this. Whereas like this is, again, like the key thing is that they literally just took stock assets for a lot of the stuff. And Craftopia I think was all stock assets for one of the last games. But the other thing that I want to touch on too. And I think you and I are going to have very similar opinions on this. But like, so their other most recent game was AI Art Imposter.
Yeah,
which is a whole part of the controversy as well, with this stuff being generated by AI art.
So first of all, again, disproven that nothing in Palworld is AI art generated. Like you cannot AI art. We are not a lot of AI generated work is getting very realistic now. We are still not at the point that you can make fully functional models that look this clean with AI. They will be deformed in some way. They won't. You can't like get a rig working properly like generated by AI. We will be there at some point. That will be a whole other can of worms to open. But we're not there yet. Like you can't, even basic code is not being written particularly well by AI at this point. Even images are looking glossy and awkward, and still the hands issue has been mostly sorted, but it's still not there yet, right? That AI art was literally the crux of that game, and it was very openly advertised as such.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of issues around ethical and moral issues. However you want to talk about it for AI art right now, because it's not particularly well controlled, right? Like you have the
zero regulation, and frankly, like if you've ever seen our elected officials talk to tech executives about like even at this point very old tech.
So you're telling me that TikTok can access the home Wi-Fi? Anyway, look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about.
If like to the people making laws right now, something like Facebook is unimaginably complex, let alone AI, where most software engineers don't really understand it, including the ones who work on it. For that matter, right? Like we're not getting any real laws around this, so AI generated stuff is really just the court of public opinion.
So I think. Oh, sorry. Finish your statement. Give your thought.
I guess just like if this was a thing that could be sued for, it would have already happened. I know Pokemon already put out a statement, but it very much came across as you people have been emailing us nonstop for the past week. Please shut up. We know.
Oh yeah,
kind of statement, and not we are going to do something about this.
That's exactly how I read that. Yeah,
there was a Pokemon mod of this that someone was stupid enough to try to charge for. Like you bet, like if you're going to do a Pokemon mod, you better not try to make any money off of it. It's probably still getting taken down, even if it's free.
Yeah.
But that was taken down instantly. This is if this game has been being developed publicly for the past 3 years. If something was going to happen, it would have happened already.
Yeah, I think that's the part that people kind of fail to understand is that we've seen art from the game, like I said, publicly for many years. So
the only thing new about this is that it's successful.
Yeah, and again, so court of public opinion, everyone's gonna pick at success one way or another, right?
Yeah.
So I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think unless there's anything else you want to add to that, I think we can kind of bundle that all up as the controversy.
I'd like to put my hot take out there is that so the argument that a lot of people put out is that, so my first point is I don't frankly care, as long as it's legal, I don't actually care if these people intellectually steal from a multi-billion-dollar company like Nintendo. Now the argument then is that you're not stealing from Nintendo, you're stealing from the artists. As someone who writes code for a living, I know that it's not the same as art, but it is something that I put my time and effort into making. And the second I sign the contract to work for a company, that code I write is no longer mine. It belongs to the company. In fact, every bit of code I write in my spare time for funsies is actually property of my employer if they want it. And this is in almost every employment contract. If you write code in your spare time to make a product and it actually does financially well, your employer owns that. So every Pokemon artist who has drawn Bulbasaur for the first time and while employed by Nintendo, that design is entirely property of Nintendo. The designer has no claim to it whatsoever. Now Nintendo can be good people but they can do the bare minimum and put your name in the credits. No one's going to read it because everybody skips over the credits anyway. But that is the only bit of ownership you get over that design. The second you decide to be employed by them and take a paycheck from them, everything you do is theirs. So you're not, even if this was theft, and at some point it's pretty close to intellectual property theft, not legally, but like morally. I super do not care if you steal from Nintendo. That is fine. I consider that morally correct at some point.
Yeah, I get that, and I think for the most part I agree. But I think the biggest thing that I don't know how to say this, but I'm going to put it out on the internet, so whatever. I think that that's all fine, and I think that everyone who is out there has their entitlement to their opinion, which is a-okay. But I don't think you should necessarily berate someone for playing a game that you think is immoral.
Yeah, and that goes both ways, right? Like if you really like the game, don't get mad at people. Don't blow up your friendships over you liking the game and them not, right? Like they can think the game is immoral, and that's okay. You can play it, and they don't have to. Like that's perfectly fine. There's
a lot of stuff. I mean, we've had several games over the past year or two that have had some sort of controversy, right? Yeah. Hogwarts Legacy came out a bit ago, right? And that was wildly popular, and it had its controversy because of J.K. Rowling, all that fun stuff, right?
Yeah, there are bigger problems in the world than this, honestly.
Yeah. And it's honestly, this is just a hobby. It's how you spend your spare time. It's yes, there's money involved because everything has money involved nowadays, but I think there's a limit to how far discussions about stuff like this can go. And I think people are way too willing to take it too far.
Yeah.
So,
with that said, let's talk about the actual game.
This game is so much fun.
It's the best. The only thing stopping me from calling it the best game I've played in ages is the fact that Baldur's Gate just came out, right? Like, outside of Baldur's Gate, I haven't enjoyed a game this much in years.
So this is actually really funny timing too, because a friend of mine has been borderline begging me to co-play Ark with them for a bit, which I do still want to play, and this has only made me want to play it more, funnily enough. But
I think I'm gonna be burned out on punching trees after this game for a while.
This is another tree punching game, and we'll see if that holds, because I kind of agree. I can very easily be okay. There's flip the switch. I'm done. But the way that I've been explaining this game to people is that this game to me is like fast food. It is not good, but it's so satisfying in the right way that like I do want to play it. I do want to go and like enjoy it with friends or whatever. Like this is like I can easily get into it and get out of it real fast. Whereas like Baldur's Gate's like a fine meal.
I would say that Baldur's Gate is definitely higher quality than this, obviously, right?
Sure.
But I would actually honestly push back a little bit as far as the fast food goes. Like, yes, there are definitely like the stock assets, of course. Some of the AI is very glitchy. You have to understand this is an alpha, like version 0.1.
Early access.
Yeah, like 0.1.4 or whatever. You paid $25 for it, and small indie company actually. But despite all that, like, and despite the like clear IP rips, they have some like a lot. The game has a lot of heart and soul in it. Like the animations on every pal are actually pretty cool. They all eat, relax, play, happy. Like they do all that stuff. And Pokemon, the funny thing. So like when I was still making content and I was doing doing the thumbnails by ripping the models and the animations from the game, they have a lot of animations in Pokemon for every mon actually. Like there's a solid like there's a folder of each of them and it's a lot. 90% of those are only used in camp. And I'll be real, I don't use camp. I use camp or picnics or whatever, like the few times that it's necessary to progress the story or get an item or something. And then maybe for like a screenshot, if I really wanted to like screenshot my team together or something, but like I can't, there weren't many instances of that. Like if I did well at a tournament or something, like most of the animations in Pokemon are unused and you just see physical attack and special attack and roar when they come out. And that is it. Whereas this is like, every mon has a lot of attitude and like you find them in the cages and they're sad. And when you attack them, they look suddenly shocked and whatever. And like,
I totally agree, right? Like I am really impressed about how, again, they, like you said, just all the animations, all the rigging they did for these models, for these creatures. I agree. I just think that, and maybe my opinion will probably change about the fast food thing to a minor degree, but I still think that with the fact that it is just an amalgamation of different games in such a, I don't want to say lazy. I think lazy is the wrong word.
They work well together. I think it takes
does.
vision to see that all of these very disparate concepts actually can be combined. It's like when someone tells you about a food that is savory and sweet, things combine, and you're like, that's gross. I would never try that. And then you do, and you're like, oh wow, like you're a genius. Like,
I mean, that's
the first person
right
to think of dipping French fries in a Frosty. People probably thought they were insane. Turns out it was pretty good. Like,
yeah, okay, but you can't take your analogy to beat my analogy and use fast food for it. Just
okay, fair.
Just throwing that out there.
Okay. Fine. Get a good French fry and a good ice cream. Then it'll still taste good. Like,
I think, nonetheless, it's a fun game.
Yeah, it works. It really is.
It works surprisingly well. Not actually. I don't want to say surprisingly well, because while they definitely took two games, I think the biggest games, like everyone also saying Breath of the Wild. I think the only thing they took from Breath of the Wild is glider and climbing.
Yeah, there's like there's a bit of the like ancient tech kind of vibe that comes from it, and like the little jingle that happens when you run into a new area feels very Breath of the Wild as well. I think like.
Fair point.
But yeah, not a lot of direct mechanics.
The real again, Ark and Pokemon is what this game is. Yeah. And Ark way more than Pokemon. The Pokemon stuff is more in aesthetics and the fact that you have monsters that you can capture in spheres and they have types and types have advantages and disadvantages.
I think I only relate this game to Minecraft because I haven't played Ark.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you've played Ark or we were talking about Valheim right before this too, like Valheim, Ark, any more modern tree punching game, which I didn't realize is a genre, but it's my favorite name for a genre as of late. It's
As
it's
of
all the
late as
same.
like the last 40 minutes.
It's what?
As of late
No,
as like
no,
the
no.
last
Someone
40
was talking
minutes.
about it a couple days ago.
Okay.
It was in regards to this game though. Just it's another tree punching game. I'm like, you're right. It is another tree punching game. But all these like survival crafting games share a very similar DNA. But you look at this game's menus and the tech tree and everything about it. I was actually really shocked, for those of you who've played Ark, that when you go and switch tools between like your weapon and your pickaxe, whatever, that they didn't have the like. Ark has a classic like when you switch out your pickaxe or your axe, your character's like a weird like flip with it. I was shocked to not see that. I'm like, because I really thought it was gonna be like, oh, just yoink,
Just rip it,
right
yeah.
out. Yeah. But they do work really well, and Ark with its dinosaur taming and whatnot, it's a very kind of easy sidestep to go from dinosaurs to Pokemon-esque pals.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very good logical step.
I think it's so cool because like I think Pokemon's been really struggling to find a way to let you actually interact with your Pokemon outside of the turn-based battling thing, and this is just like, yeah, all the tasks you could make them do. Some of them are farmers, some of them are harvesters, some of them are miners, some of them are waterers or whatever, and like they can go relax in the hot tub to not go insane from working too much. Like,
And they have tiny beds, and some of them do not fit on the tiny beds, and that's the best thing.
My Relaxorus just like taking up the entire camp is great.
Also, great segue. Relaxorus
Is my favorite. I love them.
Lamball, Chicopee, like the names are I don't know what they're very good and very bad at the same time.
I mean, Pokemon names are very good and very bad at the same time.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's very true. You have like Relaxorus,
they're
or
all just
Snorlax.
like, if anybody used a Pokemon name like in a way that was like not associated with it, you just groan like a dad pun, because that's what they all are.
I mean, you're right. But
I love a lot of the, I think the German name for Rillaboom is Gorhythmic. I love that. Like,
that's
so
a good.
well done.
That's so good.
Yeah, it's way better than Rillaboom. I don't know why that wasn't the English name.
But like some of the pals are Daydream and Depresso. Okay?
Some of them are a little lazy.
Like it's amazing.
If you can't afford to pay artists, you probably can't afford to pay good translators either.
No, honestly, go grab ChatGPT and get some inspiration or something. Yeah, so there's, I mean, I don't know. It's so funny. What else?
The other thing that I want to talk about though is like there's a lot of it definitely has this element, but a lot of what people are talking about is like very overly edgy with the guns and the slave driving or whatever. But I think it's more that they give you the option to be edgy, but that's not something you have to do or even is necessarily optimal. Like, you can butcher your pals for meat, but there's no reason to. You'd be giving up a pal and you can get meat by just regular hunting. And so like why would you ever? Yes, there are guns, but they're just like, you don't get guns until very late in the game, by the way. Like,
right.
I hit level 24, like after hours and hours this week, I finally got my first musket, and like it does solid damage, but your character has to like take a stick out and shove another bullet in between every shot.
Really?
Along with the powder.
That's so good.
And it's actually a massive pain to get gunpowder, and like you have to like go like venture into the volcanoes and get sulfur to make your gunpowder and everything. It's not really a gun centric game, and like at some point you can do assembly lines, but the pals actually are like mostly working voluntarily. They do what they feel like, unless at some point you can get like a podium that lets you command them, and then you can make them work harder than they want to. But even then, they start losing sanity really fast, and they will rebel if you push them too far. Like,
if they lose their sanity, do they attack you?
I don't think they'll just stop working. They'll throw a tantrum and be like, no.
Gotcha.
So like I think that they give you the option to be edgy if you want, but that's not really.
It's not centric to the game.
It's not the goal of the game. It's just cute. It's just a funny thing you can do. Cute is not the wrong word, but like. It's,
funny might also be the wrong word, but it's an edgy thing.
I don't know. There's lots of funny, messed up things you can do in Baldur's Gate 2 and 3. You know what I mean? At Baldur's Gate 3 as well. And no one's calling for the developers' heads, because it's just like, yeah, you can totally just like be kind of genocidal if you want to. It's fantasy. Like, you can be an evil character if you feel like it. You can be a good character if you feel like it. I haven't tortured any of my pals so far. Like,
Actually, what's really funny, I saw this on Reddit or something as an argument for it, but like, you literally, the way the mechanics work, it actually encourages you to like be nice to your pals, like pet your pals, make sure you feed them, like hang out with them, swap them out, like do all this stuff that like
You don't do in Pokemon.
you
by
don't
the
do
way.
Pokemon. Yeah, like there's like the only reason why you swap out your Pokemon is because I need to level up this one for this gym or whatever.
And even
right?
then, you
Like,
don't really have to do that because the XP share just does it for you. Like,
right. So like there's a lot of I I I do not disagree that this game has like heart and soul. Like there's something put into it to make it what it is and to make it as good as it is. Because again, it's a shockingly good game.
yeah. And as of this recording, they have done 8 million sales in 6 days, which is effectively Pokemon pace, by the way, Pokemon
Yeah.
main series pace.
It's
And
wild.
with basically zero overhead. They're paying like 20 devs or something like that, and one of whom is a gas station attendant apparently. So like you have that much raw money, and that's only Steam sales, by the way. That does not account for Xbox. That does not account for Game Pass. That is so much money. They are going to hire people. They are going to like get people on, like they've already committed to a roadmap, which is also something that Game Freak has never done. Like we're going to get raids and PvP and like and a bunch of like they've already identified bug fixes they want to do. Like it's super cool. I think if they don't get nuked off the face of the planet legally, that we're going to end up seeing like this isn't just going to be a flash in the pan. Like it's going to continue.
It's going to grow and be, yes, if they don't get sued and destroyed, it's going to grow and become something interesting. I just hope that if that's the case, that's the path we go down, that interest doesn't dwindle as fast as people fear it will, because that's definitely a concern. I'm trying to like Google real fast Pocket Pair and see how many people they actually have. Like I want to see that number or something. Company? Not helpful. And also, it's a Japanese company, so a lot of this stuff is going to be in Japanese. That's kind of fun too. Which also, to the point of Pokemon suing them out of existence, it's a Japanese company, which like Japanese
copyright laws are not as lenient there as they are here. Like they would have been sued already, most likely. Like
yeah, there's definitely something to that I don't think everyone is taking into account for this whole the story of this game. But that's a different story. Okay, I won't find that now. But yeah, and this game is also apparently fun in multiplayer. I have not played that yet. You've done some multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, pretty much just today. It runs really smoothly. The other thing, it is not like being in a union circle. Like it runs really, really well. Granted, you do have the benefit of playing on a PC and not on the Switch, right? But again, I'm just going to point to Breath of the Wild and say it's doable, right? But the multiplayer works very well. I haven't seen very much glitching at all. Actually, I haven't seen any glitching at all. I've only heard about reports of it. I'm sure it happens. But like more in terms of like latency when you have 32 people on the same server type of deal.
Yeah,
which again, 32 person multiplayer on a private server is pretty well too. You're talking effectively Minecraft servers at that point. Like,
yeah, I heard that there were some issues that were apparently fixed in a hotfix.
Yeah, the first fixed patch went out today.
Oh, it was today. Okay,
yeah,
so that
you do have, if you were running a private server, you have to patch it, but there are official servers you can play on too if you want. So
yeah, and I'm curious about how those what it's like to play in one of those, but I will stick to the private servers that we have.
Probably going to be a lot of griefing, which is why there's like security options on all your bases. You can lock your doors to other players or put a password on them so your friends can get in, other people can't.
Yeah, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, I think they thought of a lot. Like,
yeah, I mean,
even the grindiness of the game is not that. You can adjust the grindiness. You can change the XP rate on your server if you want.
Really?
But, yeah, that. Or even single player if you want. It's single player is your own world. If you want to cheat, go for it. Like
I haven't played it in the settings yet.
But even like I think it's pretty cool that the grindiness is it's an incentive for you to figure out how to actually play the game, because the game is not grindy if you know what you're doing. So you have to figure it out. It's like, yes, if you wanted to seed and water these fields all by yourself, you will be there holding the F button for a solid
so
5 to 10
long.
continuous minutes, and it's not fun, and they obviously know it's not fun. The point is to encourage you to find a pal who can put down seeds and a pal who can water and a pal who can harvest, and then you leave them to do their thing, and
And
you
to
don't have to do
cycle
it
out
anymore.
pals in your base so that you can get different jobs done as you need them.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a
or
management part to
or
this
upgrade
game.
your base to the point where you can have it all done at once or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
like it's pretty cool. Like I think it's incredibly well designed.
Yeah, no, I'm impressed. To go back to the glitches, we did see one glitch, which I think we need to tell this story a little bit because it's phenomenal. So the joke going into Charlotte was, as soon as we're done, we're gonna play Palworld on my Steam Deck, which we ended up actually doing, connecting the Steam Deck to the TV in the Airbnb, fiddling with settings for probably a good 15 minutes to make it actually run decently, and then playing using a Pro Controller, Bluetooth to the Steam Deck on this TV. It was struggling. The Steam Deck is like the hardware in the Steam Deck is meant to push to the Steam Deck's screen and about nothing else. If you push 1080p to it,
So does it actually run pretty well on the Steam Deck itself? Wow.
Yes.
Okay, nice.
When I was playing, I
So
played
you
a
can
little
play
bit.
at work.
Well, don't tempt me. But it plays pretty okay. I think if there's a lot of things going on, it might chug a little bit, but much better than what we saw at the Airbnb. But we played for 3 or 4 hours in total at the Airbnb. The night after Charlotte was the night after day 1. That was fun. And then the morning of day 2, we were playing again when we woke up. And it was just absolute chaos. For me to be playing that game and having the other 7 or so, not 7, 6 of you, whatever it was, yelling
Is the
at
bug
me.
that we just berated you verbally for hours?
Well, is the thing that happened. But Sunday morning, we got to the first boss, the raid.
Oh yeah,
the
it
boss in the
crashed on your
tower,
Steam Deck.
and
Yeah,
the Steam Deck just said, "No, I'm done."
I think that might be a hardware problem there.
Yeah, but like it maybe not, probably. But that was the only thing that I've experienced that too, right? Like,
yeah,
but
it did not crash on my gaming PC for what it's worth, but that's
coming
not
back and
saying a
playing
lot.
this game on real hardware was delightful.
Yeah.
So
And it handles ultra wide beautifully. This 50-inch monitor is it
every
actually gives me full
screenshot
field
you've
of view.
sent me,
Has just been massive. Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, let me look at the whole picture you have here, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't think I have 3 monitors. But
It's very immersive. You have to look around.
which I think would be kind of fun.
It's great for single player exploration. It's not good for like when I play competitive games. I just have it like in a window with huge black bars around it. But if I'm playing this, yeah, absolutely, it's amazing.
Yeah, I was impressed to see how well this, again, from your screenshots, how well the game handled ultra wide, and I was like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and honestly, I know people. I'm kind of attached to my pals. Real talk. Like I love.
Yeah, there is it truly fosters that. Like, I mean, to be fair, I guess the way we play Pokemon, it's a little different because we get attached to the concept of using this Pokemon that I may or may not have genned. Right.
I still pull back my old every tournament I go to, by the way, has mons that I've gotten legitimately probably over half the mons I bring are older than the players I'm playing against.
That's
Legitimately.
depressing.
Yes, it is. Yeah, my Dragonite can drink. So can my Kyogre.
Oh, yeah, good. I should try and find. Anyway, but there is that in Pokemon, but it feels
it definitely gets
in
less when you
Palworld.
play VGC. Yeah.
Yeah, it does for sure. But like these pixels in Palworld, I like a little more because you are like, just because all the interactions of like being in the base and like working with them and bringing them out with you and holding one as a flamethrower, like all this stuff, you get attached to these pals.
They saved my life. I almost got like absolutely mowed down by thugs with machine guns, and I throw out my Wyvern and it just like
I need
vaporizes them on the spot.
I'm like level 11, 12 right now. I gotta get further. I'm
Okay.
about where we were at the Airbnb.
Okay, my single player server, I'm at 25 on
Wild.
on the one I just started with the group. I'm 8, I think.
Yeah, I need to play that game more. Need to play on that server. Get other people. Oh,
Stop doing things in real life and just sink into a video game instead.
I wish I. Wow, my exposure just went wild. I wish I could do that. That'd be fun.
Just ignore all your real world responsibilities. They'll be fine, probably.
I wish I worked from home. I might start working from home in like a month, though, so that might change. And hopefully we still like Palworld then. We'll see. But yeah,
There'll be something
it?
new if not. I think that's it. I think we can call it.
So I think what's probably going to happen is, so we obviously Sheldon had to leave for this episode. I think we're going to end up talking about Palworld again in a week or two because we'll have played more stuff will have come out from it, and it'll probably be a game that we keep coming back to at least for.
And
the
with
next
any luck,
few
the
weeks.
Twitter controversy will have just ended by that point. People burn out after yelling after a week or two, right?
That's true. There's the discussions. I do want to go back. The discussions on that I think need to happen, but the
They
civility
need to be done by people with actual industry expertise and not random screaming people online. Yeah.
Yeah, there's limits to experience and what people can accomplish with it, and I think people quickly lose sight of that. But that's all I'll say. Yeah. Anyway, I think this has been a great episode. I'm so glad that we get to pivot the Game Corner to a competitive Palworld podcast, and I think we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so I think that's it. I've been Harrison. You can find me online at Roixon. I post stuff sometimes in places. Who are you, Sheldon? Not Sheldon. Rowan. Sheldon left. Bye, Sheldon.
I am Sheldon now.
Hi, Sheldon.
No, I am Rowan. You might know me as Mocha online. You can't find me anywhere anymore. I'm a ghost.
That's not true. You post on X sometimes.
I do post on X sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was depressing to say. Yeah.
Depresso.
That was depresso to say.
He's a funny looking pal.
We are all depresso on this glorious day.
Wow, this got
just a little sad, mining away.
espresso depresso. He's a miner. Yeah, he does kind of like.
Yeah. He's like probably the only pal who's fully aware of what's happening. Yeah.
That's wow. We've been the Game Corner. You can find us at Game Corner VGC on Twitter or Discord. It's linked down below. All the stuff. You know how that goes. For now, thank you to RobKTA for the use of our theme song, Goldenrod Game Corner, off the Ultraball album. And I think the last thing I want to say is, you're welcome for the intro to this episode, because it's not going to happen very often that you get to see the three of us in a hot tub. And
that's probably for the best.
That's probably for the best. So savor it while you can. Please don't say
that
anything
might be the
more.
wrong word too.
Yep, that's true too. And until next time, press start and game on.